Hello everyone, Spike Minds here, and welcome back to another video. So I'm really sorry I haven't posted a video in forever. I apologize. I've been sick. I've had a bit of a throat problem, so I haven't really been able to speak that much. And I've also been doing school and blah blah blah, but mainly because I was sick for a really long time, so I haven't been able to record any videos. I'm recording this now. I'm hopefully over the long weekend. This is the long weekend, Thanksgiving weekend for me. And hopefully over this long weekend, I'll also be able to record a Terraria video. Don't know. I'm really sorry. But regardless, here are the top 10 worst Zelda items. I know I promised this when I did the best Zelda items, so I'm doing it now. Let's go. First is the honorable mentions. Now in the honorable mentions, is the Keaton's mask, because, I don't know, it looks like a Pikachu for no reason, but not enough, and then it just summons this fox guy, who asks you these really weird questions, like, how many cows are there, how many mini cow statues are there around Clocktown? I'm like, I don't know, and you're able to get this before entering any of the areas, and, like, some of the questions are, like, about the third area and stuff. It just, I didn't like it. And then also is the boomerang. And I know I did put this in the honorable mentions in the top 10 best Zelda items, but I have an explanation. Okay? So, when talking about the boomerang from Legend of Zelda, you have two boomerangs, okay? You have the post-Wind Waker boomerang. So, Wind Waker boomerang was awesome. And then there was I almost said the Gust Bellows, but no, not the Gust Bellows. The Gale boomerang, and that was also pretty cool. And then, of course, in the original Legend of Zelda, it was good. But every other game, the boomerang sucks so hard. But because it's sort of in a limbo area, it's just like what version you're talking about. So that's why I put it in the honorable mentions. And a lot less honorable mentions, so let's just get on with it. For number 10, we have the Gust Bellows. Yes, I accidentally called the Gale Boomerang the Gust Bellows, but they are very different items. The Gust Bellows is primarily used for cleaning. Do you like cleaning your room? Do you like cleaning your house? If the answer is no, I probably guessed that, because cleaning isn't very fun. So they decided to make an item that lets you clean things. Yay! Yeah, that's why it's on the worst Zelda items. For number 9, we have the Slingshot. Oh, wow. The Slingshot. Precursor to the bow and arrow, it just isn't very good in general. And it's made to be that way. It's made to be sort of a supplement for the bow and arrow until you can get it. Not Ocarina of Time, it was like Young Link exclusive. And I didn't like playing as Young Link because he kinda sucked. He had, the Slingshot, which isn't very good. He had the boomerang, and this is one of the boomerangs that wasn't very good. And yeah, so it just wasn't very good, especially in Twilight Princess, where you get it, and about, 15 minutes later into the game, you get into the first temple, and you get the bow. I'm not even speaking right words. You get the bow very, very later. It's just not very good. Ignore everything I said. It's not good because it gets replaced by the bow fairly quickly. And that is why it's on the list. Next! For number 8, we have the Megaton Hammer. Oh wow, Ocarina of Time. Now, if you saw my last episode, the top 10 best Zelda items, you would remember I put the Skull Hammer in the honorable mentions. And I'm actually rethinking that because it's way cooler than some of those ones that I put in. Because, it's like twice the size of Link's. It looks awesome. The Megaton Hammer suffers from something the complete opposite. It looks so underwhelming. It's like so tiny. It's like the size of like his upper body. And he's just wielding it, and then he's hitting it on the ground, and for some reason it makes a big shockwave. The only time it's really used is to break some rocks. That doesn't happen very often. It's not very useful for combat, unlike the Skull Hammer. And the only other time is when you play Whack-A-Mole with that stupid dragon in the Fire Temple. Man, I hate that guy. But, yeah, it's just not very good, and I never really used it. So, that is why it is on the list. Next! For number 7, we have the Iron Boots. Wow, another Ocarina of Time. Wow. Guys, I'm telling you, I don't hate Ocarina of Time. I actually like it quite a bit. But some of the items, like the Iron Boots, are just not that great. And honestly, I think the developers know this. The Iron Boots are also in other games. In Wind Waker, they're not used very much, so you don't have to endure the walking around with them. And besides, even in Wind Waker, you don't walk around with them. You walk around with them once for like 5 seconds, but other than that, you just use it to weigh down switches. But in the other games, you have to walk around with them. Ocarina of Time, Water Temple, you put them all on, you sink to the bottom, and you have to walk with them in order to stay at the bottom. It's so slow. Twilight Princess, I hate the temple that you have to use the Iron Boots in. It is the worst Zelda temple, in my opinion, just because of its design. I just really hate it. And a large factor in this is the fact that all the time you have to put on these stupid Iron Boots to cling to a wall or ceiling, and you have to walk across an entire room, sometimes even longer, while wearing these Iron Boots that make you so slow, and I hated them. Of course, in Wind Waker, it was completely fine, which is another reason I love Wind Waker. So I've spent too much time on this item. Next! For number 6, we have the Deku Mask. Oh yeah, I know everyone's very confused at this point, but I figured, I'm like, okay, I want to include a transformation mask on here. Just because Goron Link is Sonic, but better. Zora Link, you can swim. It's awesome. And he's just awesome in other ways. Fierce Deity's mask. It's called the Fierce Deity. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but the Deku Mask? I mean, you use it at the beginning, but once you've used it in that one area, you never use it again. Ever! I mean, I remember going through the Stone Tower Temple, and there was a place where you were supposed to use the Deku Mask to skip across some water, and I couldn't even do it. So I ended up having to do some sick hook shot to try and get to the chest, and I managed to do it. The Deku Mask is not very good. And I remember being enamored with it at the beginning, like, why would you ever want to be Human Link? But then I realized that the people can't do anything unless they're human. Like, you can't plant seeds. It's really bad. So, I mean, sure, it was slightly faster, but Link's just better than Deku Link. In every way, shape, and form. Next! For number 5, we have the Raft from the original Legend of Zelda. Now, if you saw my last video, you remember maybe that I put the step ladder, floating platform thingy from the original game. The Raft is pretty much the opposite of that. Sure, they both let you go over water, but the Raft is only used like twice. Once to get to a dungeon, and once to get to some secret room. That's it. It's never used again. The step ladder, there's a lot of water in the dungeons and stuff, so it's actually very useful. The Raft just kind of sucks. I don't know why it's a thing. They could have made something better. That's what I have to say about it. Next! For number 4, we have the Magic Beans from both Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. They're kind of terrible. In Ocarina of Time, you have to spend so much for them. Every time you buy Magic Beans, the price increases. They take 7 years to grow. I mean, seriously, 7 years. So you have to plant them, then go as Adult Link and ride a magical leaf. It's just kind of weird and not really worth the effort almost ever. And just hard to figure out a little bit. I mean, I never used them in my playthrough of Ocarina of Time. I did perfectly fine. And then in Majora's Mask, same thing. It's barely ever used. It's just not very good. Yeah. Next. For number 3, we have the Troop Leader's Mask. Specifically, the Troop Leader's Mask from the original Ocarina of Time, as opposed to... blah, blah, blah. Ignore my words. From the original Majora's Mask, not Ocarina of Time, as opposed to the new one. And here's why. In the original, The only purpose this mask served is for getting all the masks to get the Fierce Deity's mask. There was no side quest that got you a heart container or heart piece, anything like that with this mask. A lot of masks, they were mainly just for show. You get them, then you could wear them like in one area to get a piece of heart, and that was their point. But the Troop Leader's mask, oh no, it literally did nothing. Oh yeah, I remember what it did. In the chase, trying to save Romani Ranch on the second day, if you wear this, it makes the people who are chasing you not chase you anymore. Okay, that seems pretty cool. But the only way to get the mask is to already have beaten that, making it completely useless. So, it's very, very useless. But at least it's not these other two. For number 2, we have the Giant's Knife from Ocarina of Time. This is made to be bad. Essentially, if you've never heard of it, it's made by Midgoron. He's Goron who's kind of big, but not as big as Bigoron. And he made his own sword that took 7 years. And after about 2 or 3 swings, maybe even less, it breaks. Sure, it does a crap ton of damage, but it breaks so easily. And even though every other time that you rebuy it, it gets slightly stronger, it's still not worth it. It's like 200 rupees or something like that. It's a lot for nothing. When you could realistically just do the trading sequence to get the Bigoron sword, which is essentially the Giant's Knife, but it never breaks. So why you would want to get the Giant's Knife, I don't know. I just don't know. It's really bad. Next. And now, the number 1 worst Zelda item, in my opinion, is the Magic Armor. If you've never played Twilight Princess, seen a video or anything, and you don't know what this is, well then you don't know. But anyone who has heard of this knows exactly what I'm talking about. The Magic Armor. First of all, you have to get a crap ton of rupees, like probably 8,000 rupees altogether, and donate them to this store run by a weird baby guy. It's really weird. And then finally it gets upgraded to its final form. Then you have to spend another 2,000 rupees to buy the Magic Armor. So altogether you've spent 10,000 rupees just to get the item. It better be good. Well, it's an equipable item. You can equip it, wear it, and when you're wearing it, you are invincible. Well, sort of. Because it runs on rupees. So, as you wear it, your rupee count slowly goes down. When you get hit, your rupee count drops quite a bit. And when you run out of rupees, its effect is completely negated, and you walk as slow as if you were wearing the iron boots, possibly even slower. So if you're in the middle of a combat, you're pretty screwed. And yeah, it's just really bad, and everyone knows that. So yeah, this has been the top 10 worst Zelda items. Just to recap, Gust Bellows, which by the way, is from Skyward Sword. I did not mention that. Gust Bellows is number 10, number 9 Slingshot, then Megaton Hammer, Iron Boots, Deku Mask, Raft, Magic Beans, Troop Leader's Mask, Giant's Knife, and Magic Armor that robs you of rupees for all eternity. That's gonna be the end of this episode. I don't know when I'm gonna make another top 10, but these are pretty fun to make, and I can probably make them more often. So, you know what? Expect to see more top 10s, hopefully, maybe. And I also apologize about the terrible editing. I'm using Movie Maker, and this is the best I can do. So, this is Spike Minds, signing off. See you guys next time. Goodbye!